Hello and welcome. This is Sushil Rao of the Times of India. I'm with Commander Chandra Shekhar and I'm going to talk to him about his career in the Indian Navy. He has a lot of interesting things to tell us. So thank you so much for the time that you've taken to discuss these things with us. So good to have you.
Welcome.
So what was your motivation in joining the Indian Navy? When did this thought first cross your mind?
This was first time in 1965 war when we were following the war news, and I developed desire of joining the armed forces, and it got reinforced. See, one evening I was standing with my grandfather in my courtyard. Having heard some stories of the war, my grandfather just said, "I wish somebody was there from my family." And that concretized my resolve to join the armed forces.
But why particularly Indian Navy, sir? You ideally have gone to the army, isn't it?
This is a little story. In 1966, I went for SSB for joining OTU. Those days there used to be Officers Training Unit, NCC scheme through which officers used to go for commission in the army. I got selected, trained for 2 months, and then I left it because it was militating with my studies. Then 1967, I went for selection in the army. SSB was at Jabalpur. I got selected there also. But there I had met a naval guy who appeared for final interview in his ceremonial uniform, blues. Although it was old dress fore and aft, but I liked it and decided then and there that I shall join Navy.
What was the best thing that you liked about the dress?
General appearance, fore and aft, with colorful, what you call it fore and aft, it's kind of apron which is under the neck and backside, square. So known as square rig also. So I looked for opportunity, I got immediately and went for selection for the Navy as commissioned officer. This time I went to merit, got selected there also. I was fortunate, 3 times I appeared for Services Selection Board and got selected all the time.
So you joined the Navy in 1968. But
Yeah.
did you have a love for ships, love for the water? Was there a connection between you and the sea, or was it just the uniform?
Frankly speaking, I had no faintest idea of ship and sea, except what I have studied in the university where I was studying geography. That's what all I had known. I had never seen the sea, I had never seen the ship except in the pictures. But I suppose it was just the lust of uniform and joining the armed forces. You see, the desire was so prominent that not only in the army, I was selected in police service. I was selected as PO, State Bank of India, almost at the same time, but I preferred to join Indian Navy. And sure enough, having secured second position in AMA previous in geography in Allahabad University, I would have been on the faculty next after completion of my post-graduation. But still, I prefer to join the armed forces.
So where all were you posted during your tenure in the Navy?
I think after basic training in INS Vendurthi at Kochi and professional training in INS Hamla at Marve Malad, Mumbai, I had been posted to many places like Goa, INS Darshak, a survey ship based in Bombay, then Visakhapatnam as staff officer to commanding officer, INS Vendurthi, and from Vendurthi again to ship INS Darshak based at Mumbai. Having come to Mumbai, I had to fly to Bhavnagar to join the ship because it was surveying on the seas near Bhavnagar. And from Darshak, I went to Goa, spent 3 fruitful years there. From INS Gomantak at Goa, I think I came back to Bombay, and from there I stayed for 7 years in Bombay, various appointments. During this 7 years time, I enhanced my career also, did materials management in Bajaj Institute, then did law from the KC Law College, then pursued my studies further, studied 2 years diploma course in Jamnalal Bajaj Institute of Management Studies, and then got selected, went for staff college, and staff course also I did very well, and from there again or back to Visakhapatnam as a staff supply officer. From Visakhapatnam in 1982, I went to Delhi as Deputy Judge Advocate General of the Navy. I spent 5 years there. After 5 years, I was back to Visakhapatnam as Command Judge Advocate of the Command.
So you were part of the mine sweeping squadron. Can you tell us a bit about your experience being in that kind of a role?
Mine sweeping squadron is a very important set of ships. Their job is to clear the way for warships, and in that they are supposed to clear the mines, if any, laid by the enemy in the way of the warships' movements. And it's a set of 7 ships. They are very, very important for war situations. This is the one which ensures that the warships have got safe passage on their course to theaters.
Does this also require a lot of skill, because this is such an important mission that you undertake as part of the squadron?
Actually speaking, as I told you earlier, I am part of logistic support. I am not in it technically and operationally. There are executive officers, specialized officers who handle mine sweeping equipments, and they are the ones who do real mine sweeping.
So can you tell us a little bit about your handling of cases as judge advocate?
You see, as judge advocate, when you sit in trials by court martial, you are trial judge. We are known as trial judge advocate of the court martial. You are advisory capacity. You give rulings on matters of law, and rulings given by the trial judge is binding on the court martial, that is a jury system of trial. This is peculiar to the Navy only. In Army and Air Force, it is not binding. Similarly, in the matters of advice, they have considerable say in the matters of deciding punishment. Whereas Findings, they have nothing to do. Findings is based on the facts explained by the trial judge advocate to the members of the court martial, and their decision is final as far as finding is concerned. But this is based on the summing up of the case by trial judge advocate. As far as punishment is concerned, he advises based on the legal nuances and minimum and maximum punishment for the case that is being tried.
What are the instances that you can recall, sir, as judge advocate?
Well, in trials by court martial, remember, in the armed forces, we don't follow the civil system of leniency. We have got only the deterrence theory to be followed in matters of trials and punishment by court martial. To explain, say there was a trial by court martial of an officer for criminal breach of trust, which is commonly known as embezzlement. It was in Bombay. The amount involved was public money of 34,000 rupees only. But the charge was proved. The charge is proved, the members of the court martial wanted to give him something like reprimand. That is where the role of a trial judge comes. And I had to explain to him that is a criminal breach of trust and he has been found guilty. The minimum punishment is jail. Now you decide how much jail you want to give. So he was given 4 years rigorous imprisonment. And imprisonment means the dismissal is a must. So the officer was given dismissal from service and 4 years rigorous imprisonment. That is the deterrence we follow. Although people may say that in civil side people swindle so much money or let off, benefit of doubt, it's not so in the armed forces.
So that is one case, sir. Can you tell me a couple of more cases?
Cases are, there was a case of desertion by an officer of the rank of lieutenant. He was a technical officer. Desertion means the man who runs away from the service without intention of coming back. Very important, without intention of coming back. Here is an officer who left the ship, did not come back for more than 2 months. Suddenly he comes and he is tried by court martial for desertion. Now to prove desertion, you have to see whether his intention of coming back was there or not. Unfortunately for him, during the periods of absence, he had tried to commit suicide. This was proved. Now, committing suicide is definite proof of intention of not coming back to the service. He was found guilty. If he is found guilty, the punishment is to be severe. He was dismissed from service and given 2 years RI. After the trial was over, when we went to brief CNC, Western Naval Command, that time Vice Admiral Barboza was commanding in chief, Western Naval Command. So it was post lunch, we had to go to his house. It was Saturday. He was sitting like I am sitting in kurta pajama. His only question was that, was it that serious? An officer is dismissed and given jail, young officer of rank of lieutenant. I said, sir, this is first trial of an officer who is charged with desertion. Desertion is proved. So the court thought that this is the minimum punishment he has to give. It has to be made deterrence.
Why did he return, sir, if desertion is what he wanted to do?
Well,
he shouldn't have returned.
It's afterthought. Afterthought. Maybe he repented, maybe he wanted to come back. But the fact is that during desertion, when he went without informing anybody and he tried to commit suicide, is conclusive proof that he didn't want to come back. So, point is that, the concept of punishment in the defense forces is deterrence, creating deterrence so that others don't do. Visualize the war situation. One runs away, he doesn't want to come, and after war is over, he comes back. That is the important factor. That's why deterrence is a must.
The other example that you thought you could use?
Another important aspect is that, Jawans hitting an officer. Assault. There was a case where a sailor of technical branch tried to hit an officer on board ship. Ship is, it is confined. Ceilings are very low and down. He had a chopper in his hand. He went to officer's cabin. He tried to hit him. The chopper hit the ceiling and lights went off. He could not hit. He was tried and convicted. On conviction, discussion was what punishment should be given to him. The members started with knocking off GCB. GCB is Good Conduct Badge. So I said, gentlemen, don't start with the bottom. It's a very serious offense. A sailor hitting an officer in confined space in the ship, warship, is a very serious offense. The punishment should be jail. And immediately they jumped to 10 years jail. Then finally they discussed among themselves and brought down to 4 years RI. And 4 years RI, even after recommendation of JG to CNS to reduce it, it wasn't reduced. And CNS, that time Admiral Pereira, he said it's a very just punishment in such cases, need not be reduced.
You would have gone into the case details also. What was the provocation for that man to hit an officer?
We all suffer from ego. This officer had bullied him for some ship's work, which he didn't like. And then he went, it's the nature of person also. He must have been very annoyed and very unhappy having been bullied by an officer, and he went, tried to hit him. It could have been very bad. You see, there is a lot of factors. Sometimes you feel that, the man is not himself happy with himself. He does that. Long back when I was in training, I was taking for watching a court martial. And there, the similar case was there, a sailor, he hit the logistics officer on board ship. It came out that logistics officer had given him punishment, taking the iron rod equivalent to a rifle and run around in parade ground. And that he said that annoyed him and he went and hit. Actual reason was something different. Actual reason was that he was a upper caste boy. He joined a branch known as Topaz. Topaz, in normal language you say Safai wala. And he didn't like doing that job. He wanted to get out of the service. And therefore he hit that officer. So, what legal terms they say, even the devil knows not mind of a man. One doesn't know what is going on somebody's mind. It becomes an excuse, it becomes an annoyance, or simply matter of ego, which reflects in behavior.
So what was the first case you handled?
This was a surprise for me also. That time I had not completed law. I think I was in final year. There was a case of rape in Naval Hospital where a medical assistant tried to rape a patient, and he was brought to trial by court-martial. Perhaps he was not getting anybody to defend him, so I was appointed to defend him. For defending an accused in court-martial, he need not be lawyer, he need not be law graduate. Perhaps seeing my enthusiasm in law, they appointed me, and I went to defend him.
So this is before you became judge?
Yes, it was much before. After that only they appointed me. That's since I did well, perhaps they thought that, this boy is suitable, let us have him in law branch.
So what was the charge against this?
It was a case of rape, but rape was not proved. It was proved to be attempt to rape. And situation was precarious because it involves a patient in a hospital and rape by a medical assistant who is, in civil they call it nurse. We have got grades, medical assistant who is supposed to look after her. And on the pretext of some text in the eye department, he took her in dark room and alleged to have tried to rape her. This was a case, and it was a solid experience for me also. First thing, having not completed law, I was to defend, but for handling this case I studied a lot. I studied total medical toxicology.
But was the charge against him proved, or?
Rape was not proved, but attempt to rape was proved.
How much punishment was he given?
He was given 1.5 years RI. And I was surprised that, after finishing his jail term, he came to my house, touched my feet, he brought some sweet. I said, I was really a little scared also, why this man has come to my house. But then seeing him, he said, sir, I'm grateful to you, it could have been worse. I said, yeah, it could have been worse, you could have gone for 10 years. But that was in the wisdom of the members of the court who decided to give him 1.5 years. And from civil standard, I suppose that it was harsh enough. That was my first experience of trial by court-martial.
Have there been some experiences while you have been in the Indian Navy, something that is stuck in your mind and memorable, as you would like to call?
Well, Navy gives you a lot of opportunities, and some of the memories can never be forgotten. My children also enjoy that. The first one was when I was asked to do a scene in a film that was Kala Patthar.
Okay.
And this was no less than from Commander-in-Chief of Western Naval Command. And film was made by B.R. Chopra. His PRO was Wing Commander Kapoor. He was in touch with me. And the film was to be shot in the court-martial room, which had been frequented by me many a times in many trials.
1 second, sir. You got a film role, but why did they choose you?
Mr. B.R. Chopra wanted to bring in somehow a scene of court-martial in the Navy. He had known CNC, so he approached him, and CNC advised him, there is a youngster who will help you, and therefore CNC chose me to help him. So the film was shot in the usual place of my duty, the courtroom, with my staff, and for crowd, some sailors and civilians were there, Those who had to sit as a member of court martial team were also very happy. And we went, shooting was done. Shooting was also a great experience.
Shooting in your own courtroom, it was like your own daily job. But considering that it was Kala Patthar, a film which was to go on the screen, who were your co-stars?
The most important thing to be told is that Kala Patthar, the hero was none other than Shri Amitabh Bachchan.
So the scene was with him?
Scene was with him. He was to be brought to trial by court martial. There were witnesses. There were, naval team trying by court martial, and Amitabh-ji, though he didn't speak much, his dialogue was hardly any. Only plea to be asked and punishment to be declared, and then he moves out. But it took entire day in the process, and all the time Amitabh Bachchan was there. In fact, after lunch also session was there. It was very nice that before lunch Amitabh ji asked me, Shekhar Sahab, can I have lunch with you? I was so elated. I thought that people will pay so much money to him to have his company for lunch. And he is asking me. I said, why not, sir? It will be pleasure. So I took him to INS Angre Officers Mess, went and sat in the bar. I asked him any drink. So he took Gold Spot Orange. Then when asked him, shall I ask something special to be prepared for you? He said, no, food will come from my house. I just want to sit with you and eat.
Wow. So that's quite a memorable thing. But what was the dialogue, the exchange of dialogues between you and him in the court when the actual shooting was taking place?
As I said, not much. I only asked his plea, to whether he pleads guilty or not.
How did you ask? Can you say that here?
I read the charge. I don't remember exactly what was charged, and asked him, what do you say? You plead guilty or not guilty? He said, not guilty. And after that, trial started. And he would have liked the ceremony that, when the court finds him guilty, we have got a sword kept on the table in front of the members of the court martial. When guilty is found, sword is removed and the sword is pointed to the accused. That indicates that he is found guilty. Otherwise, no change.
What was his reaction, sir, when judgment? Did you have to give the judgment?
I had to announce the punishment, and after punishment is announced, he was absolutely cool. And when marched out, he marched out. And that is where, if you see the film, the crowd gheraos him and declares him, calls him names including Bhagoda and all, and then he walks coolly. If you have seen the film, that time one officer comes, he says that Amit, idhar se mat jao, idhar se chalo. He said, no, main idhar se hi jaunga. That officer was also a friend of mine. At that time, Lieutenant Lamba.
Overall, sir, how would you describe your experience in the armed forces?
22 years. 22 years in the color service. Then I served 16 years in the canteen services of the Navy. That was also a good experience. And as far as my experience in the Navy is concerned, no words to explain. all round very happy, very satisfied, lot of education, lot of development in myself. Every day I thought I have become a better man.